Okay, it is 5:31. This is everyone that's told me that was going to show up today. There's also the Bloomington Restoration Incorporated. They have a meeting this evening as well that everyone was invited to. Devin extended that invitation. I think Duncan even said he'll be in attendance at that meeting too, and that you could get some education credits for CLG by attending that. So hopefully we can get through the agenda fairly quickly. That there'll be time for each of you to go there if your schedule allows. A lot of the things on the agenda tonight are kind of just touching base on things with a few things that we will likely want to vote on. So I'll leave it to Polly to officially start the meeting.
I will go ahead and call the meeting to order.
Okay, I will take a roll call and we will go from there. Susan Snyder-Salmon.
Present.
Polly Root Sturgeon.
Here, present.
Don Hall.
Here.
Debbie Reed.
Here.
Doug Wilson.
Here.
And Devin Blankenship, Don Maxwell, and Duncan Campbell are absent. It's the 20th of February. Okay. The next item on our agenda is the approval of the meeting minutes from January 23rd, 2023.
Has everyone had a chance to look over the minutes from last month? 2 days ago, doesn't it?
I didn't say anything stupid. So.
Yeah. That's what I care about.
It's nice to be able to go back and sound smarter the second time if you have to.
We like to do like that.
You don't say much, you can know.
That's true.
Yes, yes.
Speak softly.
I do not have any corrections, so I can move to approve the minute. So
Okay, there's been a motion to approve and a second. The meeting minutes for January 23rd, 2023. I will now take roll. Polly Root Sturgeon,
yes.
Don Hall,
Yes.
Debbie Reed,
Yes,
Doug Wilson,
Yes.
and Susan Snyder-Salmon. Okay, motion passes 5-0. All right, so next we have some administrative items. The first item on here, I left the follow-up to Monroe County Historic Preservation Board review membership terms. I left that on here just to see, Ron, if you had received any letters yet.
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay. Reach out to Commissioner's office. Get that going.
Once we get the letters, then we can start to solicit for the new position or the open position, right?
And as a reminder, the way that the language works out in the ordinance is until you're replaced, you may continue to serve on the board in full capacity. Or until you resign. So it's, even though you're up for renewal of your terms, it's not keeping you from being here and count.
Wild horse.
Right. So next on the agenda, administrative items we have is the follow-up to the annual property owner notice letter. It's on page 7. So board members took some time to update the letter for 2023. Has everyone had a chance to take a look at it? Anyone have any additional comments, edits to make? There was a little bit of discussion about the list of people that are going to be receiving it. I included that in the packet. so that you all have eyes on those properties that have the overlay on them. And if you had any questions about any of those, we did have one new addition last year, which is the Ben Owens Farmstead. Also I think it's the old Bauer house, B&B, I think that's what it's called. It's had lots of names through time.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're all familiar with it. It's on the corporate.
Keeping all that together,
Mhm.
property list. What is Monroe County Community Schools?
On the list.
Yeah.
I would have to look at the address of the property, because I myself am not,
315 North Drive.
I'm not completely.
That's north side.
That's school.
Be something on that property.
Well, there's that old school, but that's up further on.
Well, that's in Greener. Yeah, where I'm the staff and
Oh,
I
yeah.
actually was wondering myself, because isn't that close to the administration building? Yeah, that's where I'm wondering. I don't know.
It could be just the owner address that's listed, not the actual address. Yes, so all of those addresses aren't specifically the overlay addresses as they are the owners of the properties of those overlay addresses.
You saw.
Oh, Property Street, here we go. It's North Low Gap Road, Martinsville.
Okay, if it's not, no, yeah, that's correct, yeah.
Interesting. that
Oh,
one.
Honey Creek.
Honey Creek,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we have.
Honey Creek, yeah, Honey Creek branch.
So it used to be in Monroe County, I'm assuming. That's why they.
I've heard they were selling it, which I thought was odd. I hadn't heard that. Well, I heard from somebody who heard from somebody who hoped they were buying, so I thought, oh, how odd. But I like the fact that the vacancy, that's kind of like a hint.
Yeah.
Anyone's, and then, I thought it was a rather sound letter to start off with. You know, but the letter does not specifically state the address. Potential. Of what, of attention and the address. It just says your property. Correct. But it doesn't say where that property is.
You could do that.
I mean, that's an easy fix to merge that information. I'm just wondering. Has it just never been done?
Staff could do a mail merge where we include that information if you'd like that.
Simple
Mhm.
Merge function.
Yeah,
And it just seems to me it's more accurate because. Your property, which property? I have 50 property.
It would reassure them that we got the right property.
Well, I would be reassured.
Okay. so like your property at, and then some language that will be mail merge.
Whatever.
Okay.
If there are multiples, it does anybody else?
I'm not sure.
I mean, it just seems to me for clarity and transparency, it should reflect where the property is.
So it'd be in that second sentence.
Okay.
You're receiving this letter because your property at blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Has been designated.
Sure. We could include, a mail merge for the actual address or even a parcel number as well.
And if that's a variable issue, there's a one page, I just think.
That's,
You don't want to go probably beyond one page.
Last year, that was our goal to have, I'm like, that was our goal, to have one page.
Reduce the font.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what I was gonna suggest, if we would add, because you'll find out it gets really tight fast, because we had a lot of verbiage. In there, we were trying not to inundate them with just 2 and 3 pages or something.
Yep.
Concise.
Well, what I'm thinking is if the merge creates a formatting problem, it could also just be able to at the bottom, property located at.
Sure.
We could just add a line and there's plenty of room down there.
You gotta say see below.
Mhm.
But yeah, I was concerned that you might whack out that first paragraph or something.
Okay.
But something which does, I thank you.
that's more work for your staff and we see it.
We can do that. It's a pretty easy fix.
Yeah. This does not include the wall at Rumpke.
Correct,
That's not listed.
correct. That property, that feature is not underneath the historic preservation overlay.
Figure about. what this covers.
Yeah.
USA, I have to ask what.
Chip Road.
A bridge. A bridge.
It's a bridge. It's in the township. Oh,
A bridge,
it's a nice metal structure.
USA, I mean, that's. that-
I figured the government did some kind of work on
Is
it,
that
so
the
it
US
had to
government that we talked about?
be. Yeah.
Could we not make that more clear?
It does say Friendship Bridge.
Oh, that's down in the Salt Creek Bottoms then.
Yeah.
Your territory.
Yeah, that's.
I. And it's also all in caps, which is inconsistent with the other listings.
Yeah, the information that you see on that Excel sheet is just simply pulled directly from Elevate's parcel layer,
Okay,
which has that formatting is all about tax stuff.
just curious, who do we send the letter to at USA?
This probably gets split in a big bin.
1,400 independent status.
I can ask Tammy about what happened last
It's
year.
just a little too wacky for me to believe.
Should I know what to read it?
Yeah. I mean, I would think that that would belong to the Corps of Engineers in that area, in which case then we could use the Monroe County address. Remind them that they have it. They need not be planning to move those. Would, but. Yeah, that's just a little wacky for my taste.
Okay, any other questions regarding the letter itself? I believe, I don't know if we need to formally vote on its approval to be sent, and I think that that would just be an administrative action from this board. I will, I assume that at least like a go ahead, like make that change and staff perform what you need to do is acceptable.
I don't think we need to vote on it since it's in the admin section, but
Yeah,
you have to go ahead.
okay, all right, with the note of.
Changes the address.
Okay.
Considering that.
Okay, since- Our next item on the agenda is an administrative item, potential of HP overlay district for annexation area 4. So I have a exhibit I'm pulling up on the screen right now for those online and for the record. I'm also going to pass it out in person. It's a little bit easier to see. It's actual
Thank you.
sheet. It's about 5, so. It's enough. Thank you. Okay, so this is the, I believe the, a potential annexation area. Where one of the commissioners contacted staff and discussed some ideas about this area and possibly doing some sort of overlay in the area while it is in the county's jurisdiction. There are a number of shard database data points on the property or in the area, excuse me. So basically what staff was looking to do is just kind of open your idea or open up your minds to this idea and just get the general discussion going. We're not looking for any sort of, yes or no at this time, but just kind of get it on the plate. I think I have some additional items in the packet regarding this as well. Basically, it was just an email conversation from between staff. And commissioners basically stating that they had some ideas about this area. I guess there's a lot of hobby farms and some residents have planted vegetation to encourage wildlife and pollinators in the area. But there's also a bunch of those shard database resources there. So it's just kind of just like a be on the lookout. We're going to be talking about this more in the future. And that what kind of potential it has for an HP overlay district.
We do it the whole area.
I believe so. That is the intention or what they're looking to do.
I've never done that.
Are there several neighborhoods? It looks like they're neighborhoods.
Yeah, there's a trailer court. I think is the middle west side there. I think that's a trailer court.
I read the commissioner's letter to Jackie Taylor. And the commissioner Thomas said that someone in the area had approached her and talked to, what would be our next step to poll the entire area to see how the different residents would react to it? Would that be our next step or?
Yeah, I believe so. I think that getting some sort of community involvement and seeing the interests of those property owners for that type of district overlay. I believe that at some extent, it could even turn into individual requests if those properties were to meet those criteria for the HP overlay.
That old gas station there on Second Street. That's still there.
Are you able to pull up the shard so we can see some of the properties? Like, are they exemplary or?
Yeah, I can.
I see you just missed Daisy Barton's house. Just off the map, she must be in Gold.
Highland Village, I'm having a hard time placing this.
Highland Village?
Is that where we are now?
No, it's, and you know where the Legion is?
Yeah, okay, all right.
Right, Culver, down with that,
Okay, okay,
going toward Wapahani.
all right.
Twin Lakes is just,
Hearing nothing.
Twin Lakes is just off the map.
Okay.
It's kind of an island.
Yeah, and this is still up for annexation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although they did get enough people to sign against it that I think that they are safe.
If you were to have an overlay, that, you can have any protection against that, I
Wonder if that's part of the request.
I would have to
That
look
would be
into
good,
that.
that would be a question we would have to answer going on.
They were just suggesting we should do the overlay. while the County still has jurisdiction for sure. Is that
Okay.
what we're doing?
If it were annexed, would that then, if I'm still learning this, would that transfer?
I believe.
Yeah, there's a green.
Sure about that. That's a good question. If it would, who would, if it were to be annexed, what kind of jurisdiction would be over it?
I think the green and the red are more special than the purple, but I don't know what they mean.
That's a really good question because I can think of another area, Area 7, that was able to stop annexation. But I think of another area, 1B, that has some significant historic site that, although they may not be locally designated, how would that, would it just transfer over as eligibility or
Our
already?
neighborhood had been taken off the list. Would your home have gone over to the city of Bloomington list? That'd
But
be
I-
interesting.
But would it automatically be under the Bloomington?
Yeah.
And if so, this is my understanding, the restrictions are tighter. What I've heard, I don't know
For the city and the county, yes.
Have you heard that? I don't know.
Just figures,
Oh,
Yeah.
kind of figures.
Those are a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Need to be answered. Thanks.
Yeah,
Thanks, everyone. Yeah.
So the purple dots that we're seeing, those are the historically important areas, is that?
Yeah. so everywhere you see the pink is, I believe, contributing.
Okay, that's what I meant, pink, I guess I'll tell you how.
There's a red one down here.
What does red mean?
Red is rated as outstanding,
Is rated what?
outstanding.
That's maybe the
That's a service.
gas station.
Yeah, that's-
Click on that. There's an old gas station right there. Or there used to be.
Service station.
That's a service station.
I somewhere in the back of my mind, I thought that's.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, okay, they moved.
yeah. Wow, that's an old.
It was moved.
I know where it's sitting right now.
It's moved.
This is compiled in 2015.
Is that now further down on Second Street across from the old Farm Bureau? No?
What was the green dot? It's a little bit up northwest.
Notable.
Factory house, so that's the. Oh, wow. Historically significant, I bet they don't know that they're historically significant.
Well, I suspect they don't know which one it is.
It's the year. from that. 65.
Yep.
It's not historically significant now too.
Yeah, This got 3 more years, I guess.
Our vet used to be out there, Kevin's.
I think that's on one of the pink dots.
So what was that before it was? Farmland. Anything about it?
Of this area in general,
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Write that down.
Driven by there hundreds of times, never. Once about it.
What they're drawing is a pretty big
Yeah.
polygon, and to me, it looks more like maybe few separate zones, like that one very dense cluster in the northwest.
But there would have been a reason that it wouldn't have been annexed to the city earlier. So that's the question, is what was it so that it wasn't annexed, because it's one of those donut holes, I think they call it, is the city everywhere except there, why?
But if we put an HP overlay over that whole area, we'd be including that whole neighborhood in sort of the center left that doesn't have any notable properties.
Yeah, I never thought it.
Yeah, you could just make it kind of a L shape
Like I say, it doesn't.
and highlight everything with the one dot.
The important thing is just, find out what it is, and I think it's a neat idea.
We're wondering if we could excise that little area out that has nothing in it, just to maybe not cause a stir for.
This area,
Yeah.
this open area here that you mean.
Well,
The
it's down below that.
the left,
Southwest where-
Oh, okay.
basically the whole southwest quadrant. Except for there's one property in the very corner. Yeah.
Here, down here.
That whole-
I see what you're saying.
And the folks on Ransom. About. What do we need to do, Drew?
At this stage, this has been great information. This is exactly how I like the discussion to go. Because next I can take it back to upper staff and getting back in conversation with Commissioner. And then what I can also do is I can compile a list of resources that would be included in the area. Kind of just like a quick, like, what is it? What year was it? What's it designated?
Yeah.
Just to kind of start the idea of what level, kind of like looking ahead, like what criteria do you think, just right from the start would even be feasible here? If we already know that we can't meet enough of them, that kind of just defeats the whole purpose, and we don't have to go out and get in contact with everyone because we're not even sure if it's gonna
So
get enough team.
Before we get that measure of questions. Why was it?
Yeah, I have that really.
Was it excluded?
Okay.
Was it, there may be a reason.
You make a guess.
But.
They don't want to be annexed. Make a guess.
I'm pretty sure that's.
Whole taxation.
More and get fewer services.
Exactly, yeah.
There are many people that are excited about these. Absorbed.
People like to be in the county. They like it.
They do.
Yeah.
Or Rita Barrow doesn't like it. She's trustee over in Richmond.
I know.
The county does need a source of income. If they just keep taking on county.
And the schools, the libraries. It's really gonna be a major hit. if This goes through.
Fire stations, that was a big.
Yes, yes.
We're pretty big time. Fire. Does that area have a name? Nation? The Twin Lakes, the
Coordinate.
phenomenal failure of an early Wilmington reservoir.
Is that what Twin Lakes was?
Yeah,
That
yeah.
makes sense now.
Yeah, because it's all
Griffey.
cars. They had to fill in the big lake where I used to fish as a kid. That's where complex.
Yeah.
If you look on the other side of the road,
It's like
down by
market
it,
and stuff.
it's still swampy, mushy there, and it all collects, but then it drains out because it's dirt.
Trying to make. Griffey was too, wasn't it? An early
Griffey has
reservoir.
that,
Griffey
that
was
was
an early
way
reservoir.
up there.
So yeah, they're not cars.
Sells fairly well.
But not being.
Let's see where that stuff is on Ransom Lane, what it is. There's a lot down Ransom Lane.
That this road here.
Further. And you're calling.
Corey, yeah.
Ransom's down here.
Yeah, that's good.
Looks like it's bungalows from the 1930s or so.
Yeah, I don't think that area is included in what they're proposing.
It's Kyle.
I think they mentioned in one of the letters, and I'm not sure if it was the planning director, Jackie, or a county commissioner, that there were a lot of, I don't know what a lot means, but there were bungalows, homes of early limestone. And it could be that since the mills were relatively close, that this might have been a housing area.
Yeah, that's what I'd like to know is what the history.
That's a guess. That's a guess.
Mill workers. Subdivision Lake.
Well, it could have been.
Yeah, yeah.
But they did mention it in, I'm not sure which official letter, something to that. But that's really feasible because with Clear Creek, on both sides of Clear Creek, all three,
Yeah.
all the way. It
Those
was
are tiny
mill
little
after mill
things.
after mill.
Nice to
Yeah, they're
preserve that.
Yeah.
It's a great-
They're tiny little houses. Look at that. Here. My phone.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. You're tiny. I'm older than this. My eyes here.
Yeah, in the statement from,
Yeah.
in the statement from the commissioner, she stated that the homes are old and include some original quarry worker residences.
Yes, yeah.
So that could be somebody street that comes out of it.
Although this doesn't have anything to do with our discussion. I always like to remind people of things when I think of Gorley Pike. Okay, with a G,
Mhm.
all those houses, that used to be the same thing.
Were those workers that read?
Well, Hunter Valley.
Okay.
Hunter Valley. Yeah.
Yeah, it says in here the remonstrance against becoming part of the city. They fought it.
It even had a different name, Polly, Chandlersville.
Oh, yeah, I've heard that.
That's handling machines. Yeah, it was called, that's area, but it was for all Hunter Valley.
Just right there on Gorley though, that was Chandlersville? Oh, I didn't know that.
But that was Chandnell,
Mhm.
Chandlersville. That's
Amazing.
Okay.
I'm putting in a big all apartment complex back that way now.
All right, our next item on the agenda is CDO discussion, Q&A. The planning director and assistant director asked me to include this in this week's agenda, just to kind of get a temperature check on the Historic Preservation Board of Review's feelings about the CDO. Have you been getting enough information provided to you? Do you have any things that you're wanting to bring up as we continue to work through the CDO? We just wanted to make sure you're feeling included at your capacity. We are still working on module 2. We're working on the overlays right now. We'll be having some digital or virtual meetings coming up the end of March, we believe, about kind of like a Q&A session for the public for those overlays. That includes the Lake Monroe Eco Area overlay. There's going to be some discussion about an overlay for Lake Lemon, and then a few other breakout rooms regarding things like construction and review. So maybe something about the demolition delay with that one. And then we'll also have a breakout room for economic development in the county. Any of you would like to be included on those lists that get information about those upcoming virtual meetings? Okay. Do you have an idea of which of those 3 you'd like to be involved in, or
Probably,
just want to get a blanket email to start?
yeah.
Send it to the whole board.
Okay.
We'll probably send it to the whole board. I bet there's enough of us.
Okay.
Demolition delays.
Yeah. Duncan, you, we're working on the demolition delay,
Yeah.
and our board was kind of focusing. Thanks.
And I think I recognize a few of your email addresses on the CDO ginormous listserv that we have. Does anyone not been getting updates at any of those?
I haven't noticed.
Okay, I'll double check.
Examples.
And an example would have been the most recent one that got sent out was for the public engagement meeting we had in December. That was the same time as the planning commission meeting. We basically held a brief, the consultants were there and they did a brief presentation about the work that has been done so
I
far.
recall that I've gotten that.
Okay. Okay.
I really appreciate that.
If
I
I,
think all of these people would.
Yeah.
if I am on the list, it went to trash.
Okay.
To go find it,
Okay.
but I don't think so.
Okay.
Or could be an old address.
Okay.
Could have that contact inside of Gmail.
Okay. That's good. Okay. So yeah, I think in the future we might include just a brief CDO discussion Q&A again in the administrative business. for future meetings as we get a little bit, as we inch closer and closer to getting something that can be officially put on some public meetings. So we've still got a ways to go before we get to that stage. I think we were expecting late fall, early winter of 2023 to potentially have something going to public meetings, but everything is still very fluid at the moment. We're still working on module 2, and then module 3 is up next. Okay. All right, next we have old business, the coordination letter for High Streets and multi-use path, Brevard County, Indiana. It's on page 11. I believe that this one is just basically an update. Last meeting, we talked about just getting a message out to the project coordinators that we would like to remain as a consulting party. And that there were some historical items to be, careful about, being the Underground Railroad and some other things like that. Does anyone have a chance to do any more digging into those historical resources that might be present along this path, or any other updates?
Well, the one house that we discussed that was part of the Underground Railroad is on Pickwick Place, which is, you look just to the right of the line and north of Moore's, which is hillside, and Moore Creek becomes there. And
That's Deer Park, right?
yeah, well, you see where it says Ridgemead?
Mhm.
That's the area. There's a street that goes from the north to the south and then curves to the east. That is where the house is.
In this area where the cursor is?
You gotta change glasses, sorry. Screen. Yes,
This area?
yes, right
Okay.
there where the road curves.
Yeah.
That is where the house, and then I know that there's a barn and some outbuildings that, because I went to a presentation at the church, Presbyterian Church, and they talked all about the properties. And then of course the cemetery is right there at the corner
Yeah.
of Morris.
Presbyterian Church is, they own that cemetery. right?
Yes, and it's still being used.
Yeah, it's done a run.
Duncan mentioned again, to the north that there were some houses of note.
Ralph Rogers' house.
Yes, Ralph Rogers, the gravel guy. And of course, it's within nose blow of the Tarzian property. And there are, right there, it's not where South Downs, what's the name of that street? There's a really amazing mid-century house right there. CBOC used to own it, so that's why I know it's there.
Is it the Dunn House you're talking about, close to Roger's house? Yeah.
South, it's not South Downs, is it?
I think it was known as the Dunn.
Covenanter, we're Covenanter,
UNN.
it's Covenanter, South Covenanter, before you get to East. Right there at the corner, right where this is going through, there is an early mid-century modern. It's quite phenomenal, right there.
South Covenanter.
The Dunn House is close to 3rd Street.
Yeah, I think that's on the west side of the road, I'm not sure, but that, I mean, that space is so wide, I don't know where you would put a trail like this. Down trampling.
Maybe a good idea.
Earl Church is right there. That's, I don't know how old that is, but.
Well, you've got the Dunn houses between the church and the road.
Might be a good idea. I know we're all busy, but sometime if we could take an hour, hop in a car and just start at A and drive all the way to Z and just boom, 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 you know.
Just the spacing right there, I can't imagine putting something this big in that space and not having huge impact. There's just, everything is close to the road. Even once you get up on the highlands, which for me is after Maxwell.
2 foot wide.
My old neighborhood, That's fine, I don't worry about.
$10 feet.
I can't even, I did recently drive through there, I just can't even see where you would put, it's so dense. In Boston, they would label it thickly settled. It is extremely thickly settled from hillside all the way up to at least Maxwell. There, it opens up a little bit more, but my goodness,
How much right of way do they have from the center of the road onto these properties?
that's a good point.
I don't know if they talk about that in the report.
Would they, this, to be able to fit this in and what you just asked, would they make the driving lanes more narrow?
I think they
How-
gotta take the yard. They gotta take the part.
I mean,
It's gonna take out fences for sure.
how would they, you know?
No, there are no.
They might have to take the, is there a sidewalk through here as it exists? Maybe they
Yeah.
can use some of that
You
now.
know, and people walking their dogs, you got deer crossing in the middle of the day, there's no room. And both sides have drainage, I would call it a creek. There is a creek, once you get up to Covenant, there's a creek, but, there's a lot of water that drains open in there.
You have to work around that. Because it's probably right in the ditch.
Yeah.
This right-of-way acquisition will be required from adjacent properties. The amount is being investigated as part of a scoping study.
Okay.
The scoping study is also currently underway to determine the best alignment for the trail, as well as consider any necessary intersection improvements that could include pedestrian crossings, new traffic signals, or replacement of traffic signs, drainage work, et cetera.
And you need to see what they're proposing, don't we?
Yeah, this is an early coordination letter, I think. But certainly the information that this board can provide, and I think that they had Bloomington's HP listed as a receiver of this letter as well.
All of this area is in the city, right?
Right, this is all in the city's jurisdiction. That was something we talked about last time, but we can remain as a consulting party to provide information, so I'll work on drafting some sort of correspondence.
It didn't sound like they felt like they had the existing right of way that, right? It sounded like they were investigating how much they wanted to try and establish.
Yeah, I think that there is when traveling south on High Street, there is sidewalk on portions of the road. Depending on how close you get to Hillside and further on, there are some sidewalks, but they're very intermittent. Because I have walked that area before. It is really tight. It's like the road immediately meets the sidewalk. There's no barrier.
Put that traffic light in,
Mhm.
and then a few little sidewalks right there.
Yeah.
So they don't even go down a curb.
Right.
They can take the existing sidewalk as part of it,
Mhm.
that it's nowhere near 10 feet. Sure.
Okay.
Well, there is a tributary that actually is on the map at that point and comes out. Little lake there. May not be there anymore. I want to see this map.
This is a USGS map, it looks like.
Yeah, but it's old.
Yeah. I don't see any dates for the base layer, yeah. Yeah, I couldn't tell you. All right, next on the administrative, or excuse me, the old business list is the Dry Stone Conservancy report. For the Rumpke Stormwater Preservation and Maintenance Plan. We had a good discussion about that last meeting. I'm trying to remember. We left off with that. Essentially, it seemed like the board was in favor of Rumpke entering into that recommended agreement with the Dry Stone Conservancy for future maintenance and oversight of the wall. We touched on the idea of an HP overlay for just the wall feature itself. That is something that certainly is unprecedented in that the HP overlay of a structure and not an entire property. But I guess what I'm looking for today is just any lingering comments or points of discussion this board has regarding that. 'Cause otherwise, need to talk with the director of the planning department to see, and maybe the legal department to see what we need to see from Rumpke to meet our own condition of approval for their variance, as well as what we need from this board. Because it could be something as simple as planning staff needs to see some sort of written commitment that confirms that they'll be working with the Dry Stone Conservancy with the dry stone wall. And then we could, and maybe see something from this board that says we've reviewed the plan and we accept its, the details, something like that.
And will be watching.
So yeah, I'll open up the floor for any extra comments or discussion, or if that sounds about right for everyone.
I just think it's really phenomenal that this happened. Very exciting for me to see that. There's a reason I can't steal some of these photos.
From the report,
Yeah, they're public, right?
I guess it is.
I will give
It
proper
is a,
contribution, of course.
So it's on our minutes, so.
yeah.
Yeah, just have to read it.
Yeah, I would assume so. You might even just reach out to the Conservancy.
Yeah, I made one of it.
It might give you a better resolution.
Yeah.
I guess we talked about last week that, or last time, Rumpke's been super cooperative, but if they ever sold the property,
Yeah, it's all.
Right.
we want to make sure that there's something.
Yeah, how do you make sure of that?
HBO.
The end of the deed or how does it work?
Yeah, it's either HP overlay, which is the most teeth that this board has. And then otherwise it would be some sort of deed restriction or deed covenant.
Yeah.
That could follow along with the land. I don't know what that language would look like. I'd have to talk with some of the legal.
I'd like to explore how far we can go with that, just because this could happen again with something else somewhere else. And they've been so cooperative, it may be useful to see how far we can push it.
I'd be in favor of without the HP overlay for the wall,
Okay,
but.
I really like that idea.
okay.
Great. I would. Put up nicely with the Stedtbender property, and yeah, that would be a nice protected area.
I'll just publicly thank Drew for sending out copy of the report to a prior board member requested.
Yeah.
She wanted to read how she was quoted.
From a totally different standpoint, first of all, I am not an expert on building stone walls. But the work that we do in the stone industry, whoever did this report, and I believe it was Lexington Russell, I don't know his last name, but it was incredibly well done. The features, the things that we deal with daily, whether it's local, whether it's state, whether it's a federal project, the stone samples, the techniques, everything. I read
The
record
record keeping, detail.
I read this from a totally different perspective, and I was really, really pleased with it's been done so well. So I think we're in good hands. I think we're in good hands.
Do we know who owns the other side?
Not off the top of my head, I do not. I would have to look on.
Just real curious, my mother-in-law used to live out in that area.
I have to look into that.
That's come up several times, that question, yeah.
Might be somebody
I wonder if there's anything growing up into the wall on the other side of it.
Well, you've got the trees.
We recommend 10-foot clearance on each side. Useful to know.
As the grows in your fence line, I'm sure. Okay, so the next two items on old business, I did not include page numbers for them because they were pretty much just anything back from those respective project coordinators. That is the NDOT early coordination letter for the structural project along State Road 46 from the State Road 446 intersection to the west junction of State Road 135. That's the project that falls along State Road 46 that goes from Monroe County to Brown County. Staff provided a preliminary email to that group stating that we would like to remain consulting parties, but we have not heard anything back from them. Something that we talked about with that project is to send them a follow-up message to provide maybe a list of resources, and then there was discussion about the bioherm.
Yeah, this past month was busy, but I had more availability.
Yeah.
See you.
It's all early coordination letter, so, and we've already said that we want to be a consulting party, but I think that it would be good to send, a list,
Mhm.
location of some features that we've been discussing. That way, they can include that earlier on in their project deliberations. We don't have to remind them time and time again that there's things present in their affected area. So yeah, that's it for that one. And then the second one is the Bloomington Ops Tower project. That one is the some 300-foot tall wireless communications tower, which is north of town. And that one, last update was that staff provided an email stating that the Monroe County Historic Preservation Board review simply objects to the property or that project's current location. That project at the current location. And we have not heard anything back from them either.
What are they required to do in response?
That is a good question. In past discussions about this project, this board talked about how typically after an objection of a flat out objection to a project, it typically opens up some sort of discussion and some sort of work with each other. What do you want? What can we do?
Yeah, I thought Duncan's reference was that
Yeah.
it normally creates a dialogue, but
Yep.
if we've not heard anything,
Mhm,
the question is, did we hear it not?
mhm.
Maybe they're just gonna try to find another
Or
spot.
we didn't see that.
In more of the county. Yeah.
I mean, it just goes up someplace. We said no, thank you.
Mhm.
Both of the roads out there look still out. I wasn't say driven that lately. Well, you can go zoom it across, you know, down on Sample and go down through Modesto and it's a doom zone. It's organized.
All right, that does it for old business. New business items on page 60. Okay, so this one is a certificate of approval application to install parking spaces to a newly acquired property adjacent to Lake Monroe. I will admittedly state that I don't know much about this one. I couldn't find much information. But it seemingly was a letter from the state agency of DNR, Natural Resource for the Archaeology Department regarding their approval of the construction of parking spaces in this area. So I admittedly have to get more information about this one. I'm not sure how we received this letter, but didn't receive any prior correspondence regarding the project. But I don't know if any of you had any recollection of one of these item, this project.
I've seen this.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah, because we didn't receive anything from the project coordinator, we just received a copy of this letter from DNR that said, we're okay with what you're doing. So I really need to look in more into this. So, and I did want to see if anyone had any prior knowledge about it, because I did come on halfway through the year last year, so.
Is that reference DHPA, and where would we go to?
That's the question too. I tried looking up that DHPA number on the DNR website. I couldn't, it wasn't immediately available and it wasn't easy to navigate. So I might talk with Tammy and see if she knows more about how to navigate that and find this number.
So you wouldn't even know if it's in Polk or Salt Creek at this point. We really don't even know what they're talking about.
You're over on the other side too.
Yeah, what property?
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
no, what property?
Yeah.
It's kind of a big lake.
It's kind of in multiple counties.
Right out.
I knew that they got some new property down that way, so that's why I thought it was in that area, but
Okay.
it may be a pain town. Yeah, maybe we gotta know where it is.
Yeah.
At least we know it's in the town.
I'm seeing Rockport Road.
Where did you see Rockport?
I think it's in,
Number?
yeah,
Updated.
Rockport and Cockrell. Seems like it's kind of on.
That's on the west side.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see what you can find out.
Yeah, I'll dig,
Couple of
I'll dig
doors.
deeper. I might reach out to the DNR contact that authored this letter. Or Melody Pope. The DNR.
I know Mel, I did. She's their state archaeologist.
Okay.
Be nice.
Is she the one who replaced Reagan?
Yes, and she was the Glenn Black curator for several years.
Okay. All right, the next item is the early coordination letter for a bridge project on Rockport Road over Branch Clear Creek. Mile south of Bowlin Lane in Monroe County, Indiana. So here's the project coordination letter.
Oh, that's where I was seeing Rockport is on.
Yes, so they are planning on they noted some deficiencies in the bridge that include settled and falling stone head walls at the structure's outlet. And plan to surface and expansion, noted the surface and expansion of rust on each pipe arch and small holes in the bottom of the south pipe arch at the inlet. So
Right by Hoadley Quarries, isn't it?
I don't know for sure.
Feels like it.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
So they're planning a full
Okay.
replacement.
Their quarries,
I just remember seeing a sign
I say, I don't know.
going down
Span
Rockport.
curve, continuous reinforced concrete slab bridge, 80 feet long.
Could you show a
We're really not.
Yes, they did provide some images of location. So here,
Well, if it's where I think it is, that's right along the Clear Creek Trail.
yeah,
here's South Rockport
Yeah.
and West Bowlin Lane.
it's yeah. It sells on that. Right on that.
They have a lot of trees that fall down there during windstorms. I've seen the road closed many times. Near the down trees.
Here's the closest to the project area.
It's kind of dark in the neighborhood, isn't it?
There's that road. Oh.
They're talking about stabilizing the creek at that.
So it's not as far down as the Clear Creek.
10 months, ooh. It's a pretty busy road.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out where the bridge
Where's
is. They're
the bridge?
replacing a bridge, right? Replacing.
Yeah,
It may, I'm wondering if it's just asphalt over that metal.
A culvert kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Might be.
Yeah, that may be it.
and they're calling it a bridge, and I guess it is a bridge, but.
But we don't see it. Yeah.
I'll elevate it so it doesn't go back to the street.
We're all in favor of bridges that don't collapse.
Yeah.
Well, there's been a lot of houses built south of that, and they use that to get going into town.
Yeah, there's a picture. It's.
Oh, is that, that's all it is?
Yeah. Pretty much.
So I pulled it up on the SHARD database too. It looks like this is the project location.
They're showing that Y in one of the pictures there. Yeah, right in the middle there.
Think
It's not
this
a
is
road.
still
Which
yeah.
would sound really rude, but I don't mean to be, it's just you can't see it.
Drainage.
It just looks like a road, because they just paved right over it now.
Here. Like a water feature here. It looks like almost like several.
What it looks like right here. So you can't really see it on the road.
Where did you find that?
It's just.
I guess I just haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, it's. I think you'd notice you were going over a bridge if you were driving on the road.
Page 73.
Yeah, it looks like there's 2 or 3 openings right there.
Ah,
There's a little bit of stone right there above it. So,
Doesn't look like there's anything really historically significant around there.
well, if there is, there might have been one of them.
Yeah.
A few contributing properties on Boland, but
Wouldn't be.
I don't think it's over the project.
Well, they're really cool. You know ones people?
It seems so.
somebody get this leak wet.
So what do we need to do?
So for this one, it's an early coordination letter, so basically they're seeking any comments regarding their project area from all potential stakeholders, as they would any other project. See, let's go back to the letter, see if
You said there's some contributing there, Bob.
Just off of Boland, but it looks like it's out of the yard they drew.
qualified professionals will evaluate the project area for archaeological and historic resources for section 106 compliance. The results of this investigation will be forwarded to the NDOT Cultural Resources Office and the State Historic Preservation Officer for review and concurrence. Monroe County is in the Indiana karst region, and 3 karst features were identified within a 0.5 mile of the project area, but none within or adjacent to the project area. Please provide your response within 30 calendar days, the date of this letter, which was dated January 30th.
It's like a good project to me.
So,
No comment.
yeah, so it could be no comment. Thank you for including us. We do not recognize any historic features
Rock and roll.
in the project area, something like that.
Forgive my jumping in there.
Sure.
Do you think we should reach out to Duncan just in case we might have missed something? Because I know he knows this area as well.
Yeah, I can request an extension
Yeah.
and then we can revisit it next week or next month.
You couldn't be here. I just said he speaks with, I could be misinterpreting, but he speaks with a certain personal knowledge of the area and.
Sure.
Of course, I would expect that along the creek, they could find things.
Sure.
But I trust that, you know, I'm gonna
Yeah.
do the right thing there.
All right, that brings us to work plan updates. Page 75. And I will open the floor to anyone that has any updates. Oh, I have an update. I have not had the time yet to meet with Wendy Wilson regarding the website. I will be scheduling that hopefully soon with her. To sit down and ask what she needs, if there's anything that staff can help support her in. And then I can reach out to, at minimum, the subcommittee members of that group. And then hopefully just get that ball rolling more quickly instead of having to wait till next month. Maybe we can even get the updates done before then, hopefully. Whatever needs to happen, I'll look into that.
If I may jump in here because I'm going to have to leave to go to the Bloomington restaurant. I'm not sure if this is the proper place to bring it up, but Holly's what she sent to us. I thought I love it. It's phenomenal. I am just so grateful. I'll say it again. It was so generous of you to do all of that. I'm so grateful and I just think it's outstanding. Here's some thoughts. I don't know if you all are going to vote on it tonight to go forward because of the March 10th deadline. But again, I've got to zip out of here pretty quick. Here's some thoughts. And of course, he just mentioned Wendy. And I truly appreciate that. But I think it would be imperative that if we go forward with this other, that we've got to get that website going tight, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's okay. Secondly, and you know this better than I, the people who are teaching every day, would we want to try annual instead of biannual, you know, for this first time out? Or if you feel comfortable going twice a year, that's a thought. I was wondering where would the actual meetings take place? And then something that I would really hope that with any kind of workshop that we would stress that the remaining quarries, which we're now down to approximately 8 or 9 in 3 counties, 8 or 9 in 3 counties, how important it is that we preserve them, not from a personal standpoint, but truly historical, theological. And I even have something recently that came to me, a video about the Chicago Tribune Tower and all the restoration work and how important it was matching, et cetera, that would feed right into something like that. But in other words, I think we need to go that way. Do we need, is there any way I can put my vote in now and exit? Or do we need to vote on it? How?
I think we should probably vote on it. I'd want to
Yeah,
make sure.
I know that we do a proposal and probably will finalize it.
Mhm.
That's the right.
okay. So yeah, to reflect that this is for the limestone education
The
grant.
workshop. But putting in a proposal for the grant.
Okay,
Just to
For the record.
proposal in.
okay, so there's,
And
Second that motion.
I think the deadline for the grant is March 10th.
Yeah.
That would be before next meeting, so we'd either have to poll everyone for a vote, or if we could do it now or whatever.
We got a motion, it's been seconded.
okay, there's been a motion And a second to direct Polly to submit a proposal for the limestone education grant. So I'll now take a roll. Don Hall,
Yes.
Debbie Reed,
Yes.
Doug Wilson,
Yes.
and Susan Snyder Salmon. Sean Root Sturgeon.
Yes.
Sorry.
Oh, did it get you? Oh. Thank you, Debbie. very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Not had a chance to read it.
It's so exciting. Now what we have to do, you ready for this, everyone? I know this is kind of off the record, but it's, now we've got to get that part going.
You know,
The
I'm
park.
very excited about the park.
Park, we've got to get our part going. Hey, I'm dreaming big. Okay. I'm only gonna live to be 100, so we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it.
That property that the county purchased just off of where the bypass intersects.
Ice box.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
Oh, I was just looking at the stands of.
That's great. Ice.
We went over Ellisville 4 times, don't ask me why. But I was explaining, I understood because somebody had said what was going on there.
I'm gonna live to 100, we'll get it done.
We want to get started.
Then we'll have all these workshops thrown around. Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Oh, I would love that. I keep keeping my ear kind of up to hear if there's anything new with that
You
park.
can actually see, right now, you can see so much of the property.
Mhm.
It's really cool.
But all they've done is purchase, and I haven't heard any updates.
Yeah, I don't have any updates regarding that.
Commissioners, please let us know.
They want to put a jail down on Rock.
Okay, I think technically with Debbie's departure, that does break quorum. Even though we don't have any items to vote on now, it's just work plan updates. I don't know if we can continue the meeting.
I will just mention that I'm continuing to work on the dry stone walls, invitation from me. I'm nearly through the book that was done on the Lexicon up here. And I am being familiar with the dry stack stone walls. And do some field trips with colleagues so that I'm a little more understanding of the nuances, but I think that'll be a really nice opportunity. I do need those maps laminated, if I have a chance to get that done.
Oh, okay, the lamination,
I found it maps,
yes.
and I thought of, while we were talking about this little parcel that's not in the city, that you think is in the city. Do those maps delineate city versus county?
They can, we can add a.
I think with that, it's gonna be really important with population, and those that I can turn around and use at the Limestone Festival.
Okay,
Because the idea is we want people to say, oh, I think there's a wall here and a wall there and a little sticky note.
mhm,
And most Fulton County and Monroe Countyans are not gonna be particularly cognizant of where those lines are,
right,
but I think we need to know.
right.
I do have. You mentioned the Limestone Festival. Up there, it's June 10th. I'm gonna change the tentative date to the 17th right now.
Okay,
Oh, really?
If that's at all possible. with
That
you.
was the week after you thought it,
Yeah.
Maureen?
Yeah, the 17th.
That's actually, I like that, you've got a conflict.
Backs up against Father's Day, it's that Sunday, and then Juneteenth, so I think a lot of people will be out and about and have, you know, that extra day off, some of the folks, so.
I broke my legs on you. Yeah, you know, doing all that.
Well, I can make a motion to adjourn the meeting and then we can kind of chat, but yeah, since we're out of quorum.
Okay.
Make a motion to adjourn and. Or I can just adjourn the meeting.
Yep. Yep.
Thank you.
If this grant goes through, are you looking to do the workshop on June 17th then, or around June 17th?
It would be that week before,
Okay.
yeah. So the 3-day workshop is what I could fit into $5,000.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's a very jam-packed 3 days. I could see us going like 4 or 5 days even. And it's possible that the survey, my work could cover some of that cost, but I put into the proposal just what the 5K from the grant would cover.
I know, and I apologize, I haven't had a chance to read it. Were there field trips involved?
It's pretty much every morning is classroom and then the afternoon is field trip, except for the second day, if we wanted to pay $60 for every teacher to do the hand carving.